marked by the death of George Floyd in police custody are being felt all through American society, including Hollywood, where artists and studios are grappling with their responsibility. So let's talk about that. Gerard Bush, the writer and director of the upcoming film Antebellum, is here. How you doing? We've been trying to get you on for a while. I'm so glad that you finally said yes, and I'm envious of your apartment. It's beautiful. Or home. I'm not sure where you live. It's gorgeous. So thank you for joining us. Let me talk about what you have written here. A very moving piece in Vanity Fair about what it's like to be black in America with all the history. You write this. You said, to be black in America is to be in a constant state of simultaneous worry and defiance, and in-between place, a not-so-soothing balm that prevents us from erupting into rage every time we walk out the front door. Talk to me about that.
I think that most black folks in this situation, suddenly we find ourselves catapulted into a different emotion that we really haven't tapped into. I felt apoplectic after what happened to George Floyd, and I felt like at this time it is more important than ever that we as artists, as writers, as directors, as creators get engaged and make sure that we provide a more accurate picture of what it is to be black in America and all of the contours of that experience. And so for me, it felt like a much more sort of productive emotion to feel anger, because the anger is what activates people if it's used in a productive manner to initiate meaningful, sustainable change.
That's, yes. Amen. Listen, here's what you pose a question. You talked about this just a little bit, but I want you to expand on it if you can. You pose a question in your article, what must black artists do? So then what is the answer? I know you said engage, but what is the answer?
I think that we have to be extremely careful about the stories that we tell ourselves. I'm interested in telling the stories that we want to see and hear and experience from the perspective of black folk, rather than telling a story that white people or some white people want to see about us. I think it is just as important for us to provide an accurate reflection in all of its rich mosaic of diversity as who we are as black people, as it is for us to show that reflection to the broader sort of American collective. And so for me, and my partner, Christopher Renz, who, we write and direct everything together, but for us, it's about how can we start working with movie studios to ensure that we have black executives, that we have black women, LGBTQ folks represented from the black community, where we have a clear voice, a seat at the table, so that we can put movies and television shows that are beyond this homogenized idea of what America is, which quite frankly, that's how we get a deluge of this mediocrity in a lot of what we see. There's a lot of it, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily great. Right. I think if we have more black folks engaged, then we.
I don't. Before we run out of time, I want to talk about your film because I think it's important. Right. It's called Antebellum. And right now, we're seeing a real effort around removing Confederate flags, statues, names from institutions around the country. Why do you think this is taken so long? And talk to me, how does that play out through? Because your film is called Antebellum.
Antebellum, for me and for Christopher, was inspired by Gone with the Wind, which I think was an absolute insult to black people. Just the other day, Lady Antebellum reached out to us to say that their name was weighing heavy on their hearts, and that our movie definitely had an impact in hearing about the movie. And I said, look, this is great. This is showing growth about a conversation that all of us need to have. And so if you have Confederate monuments or a Confederate flag, in my opinion, that's tantamount to a Nazi flag. We're celebrating traitors in America. We're celebrating people that are celebrating or believed in the subjugation of black people, believed in building this country on the backs of stolen bodies and free labor. So that's a conversation that we should have, and I think that Antebellum is going to activate a national
Okay.
conversation around that.
We're over, and I'm going to get in trouble for this. I don't know if you saw that there's a PSA with prominent white celebrities making an effort. It's called "I Take Responsibility." Are you happy with? And you got to say, do it quick for me. That to see your white colleagues speaking out like this, I got a lot of criticism, but quite frankly, white people don't know what to do right now.
Yeah, look, I think that inaction is not an option, but at the same time, I think that white folks need to find a way to engage in proper allyship, and that means having meaningful conversations with the black community or black folks in your life. And if you don't have black folks in your life, then that is an indication of the problem. So, albeit I understand good intentions, I think we need to broaden it where they're actually having the black community as a part of what that allyship should look like.
Listen, I think that if your intentions are good, do some action, and you can always correct them, right? So,
Exactly.
Gerard Bush, thank you so much. Hope to see you soon. I appreciate it.